Philip. Nice to see everybody. So just to let you know, there's one document I forgot to put on the Google Drive, which we're gonna go through in class. So I will put it on the Google Drive tonight, but it's just, I can't see you, but I can hear you. So if you have a question or anything, just unmute and ask the question, or you can even type it in chat. We were working with trying to get the little screen so we could see, if you raise your hand or anything like that, but for some reason it's not working tonight. So like I said, if you have a question, unmute or just type it in the chat. All right,
Mvhayv.
Since we've been on for 2 weeks, I was just going to refresh what we did and just kind of go over anything. Did anybody make any sentences or anything, or did you try to plug and play? I know. It's the summertime and it's kind of, you got a lot of things going on. So like I said, I was just going to refresh everything. Because, I know, like in school, after summer break, you're like, I don't even remember my name, All right. So I just wanted to show you a couple things that I've been working on. And this is in our Google Drive. So everybody has the Google Drive. And these are words of the day. So what I was working on for May is sometimes, if you lose a sound, you want to hear it. These are on here. So I made the word of the day, the sounds. But these are all on here. So you got them off. So you got 1, and it goes all the way to 20. For some reason, it's not all in order. But these are the things that we've been going over for the last few modules. So if you lose a sound, this helps you. Yes, you can pull it up on your phone and just listen to it. Because I know, like I said, there's some of them like this. Where you get that.
Ooh. The sound is in the word shoe. The sound is in the word tuchinen.
So you can capture that sound. And one of the things that I know I have problems with is like the U, the ooh sound, and then the sound with the D sound. Yeah, it's like I said, everybody's been out, and I kind of haven't been doing this. I did my last class on my computer, so I haven't used the little pointers. See, so this is the Google Drive. There's words in a day, and that's where I put them on, because sometimes, for some reason, whatever reason, when we upload things to Facebook or Instagram, it disappears. And I know I was in, I don't want to say Facebook jail, but all I shared was the chickpea recipe, and they said it violates community standards. So they took it off, and it was just a chickpea salad recipe. So you know how that goes, whatever somebody gets offended by, they can take it off. But here's the
The sound is in the word under. The sound is in the word aji.
See, so if you ever are in a circumstance where you're like, I don't remember what that sound is, these are out there. And that's why I wanted to do this, so it made it where you could have it out there. Oh, there we go. Yay. So, like I said, these are all out there. We've already gone over all of these. And then you've got access to them for some reason. If it's not in the social media, you've got access to it. Okay. So let's go to module 3. So module 3, what we're going to be looking at, and we're not going to get into it today. Like I said, we're just going to refresh ourselves. We're going to get into future one tense negation, first person. So what that means is I am not going to fly. Because we already got, I'm not cooking. Well, I am cooking, I'm not cooking, and I am not going to cook. So that's just another step that we're getting ready to. And so that's going to be module 3. Like I said, we haven't gotten into that yet. I'm just going to refresh everything. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. Module 3. See, like it's got review module. I'm not going to go over everything, but right here, just going to say, his J. I know this is how the Mvskoke Creek Nation has it. His J, Evie's J, his J. That's how I've seen it. Some people sit there and complain and say that's not how it is, but
Like you said, there's no right.
there's no right or wrong, And then, your name, so put Desiray, Jim, post. Where I am from, more a daily post. Where I'm from. I live here, Oklahoma City, the Gated Post. Remember, the T can be over here, and it's the Gated Post. Like I said, we're just gonna go over this really fast. Since we already know our sounds and our alphabets, let's go ahead and go over these sounds really fast. Afashki,
Afashki,
Chi, Chisi,
Chi,
Ero,
Iro,
Igana,
Igana,
Pinky,
Piki,
Iloqua.
Iloha, right here.
He was put as T, Iloqua. T. Oh, right, it's A, because it's H, and then I, so be A, don't play Q, that's that. Play A, E. E.
I, Ibala,
B.
I,
B.
Iha,
Me. Mvskoke, Chugo.
Mvskoke, Chugo,
Yeah, and Nini.
Nini,
O, Austin.
O, Austin,
E, Benoit.
I, Benoit,
E, Sako.
I, Sako,
E, Simaga.
Si, Simaga,
E, Dava.
I, Jaffa,
Tuchine.
Uchinen,
I know, when it's not at the very front, it gets kind of confusing.
Uchinen,
Waga.
Waga,
Yikchi. You got it. So that's our alphabet. You guys have any question on that? Okay, so that's our alphabet. And then from our alphabet, remember we were able to go up here. Oh yeah, the 2 letter syllables. And like I said, we learned she, I, e. So when you hear the Mvhayvs like Mvhayv and Burnett, when you hear the Mvhayvs and they're talking about sounded out and Mvskoke sounds, she, I, she, I, she, e, she, a, she, o, she, it would sound like cha,
John,
j,
J, Jo, Jo, Ja.
So that's what they're talking about on our sounds. And like I said, I heard the short E and the long E because that helps those of us who need to practice them. So let's go down, ba, the, say, so, to, the. So all of these are sounds that we have in our language. And I just wanted to show you guys, you've already said these sounds for the 2-letter and 3-letter syllables. And that's, when you hear Mvhayv, and I talk to Mvhayv Barnett all the time when we're talking about the sounds. So that's what she says when she says, spell it out in Mvskoke. Sound is chi, ni, e, instead of using T or instead of using CA, because she's trying to, get your mind to switch to Mvskoke. So that's what we're trying to do in an easier way, or step by step. So let's go. So this is like I said, this is what we just did. This is the whole bit. Does everybody remember how we go? All right, so we'll just go over a couple of them. La, le, li, they, lo, lu, la. Na, ne, ni, ne, no, nu, na. All right, so those are out there. Like I said, I'm just reviewing, so we're just going quickly over this. The 3-letter, here we go. Stop. Six, see, say, so, su, stop. Let's go here. Mom, min, be, bang, ball, food, fun. You always, and then like month, you hear month a lot. So these are all the sounds in the Mvskoke language that, like I said, if you get lost on your pronunciation, just go back to the alphabet, or we need to go back to the 2- and 3-letter syllables. All right, so with all of that in our pocket, we have our simple sentences, present tense. This is what we did in module 1. I'm just going to briefly go over because you guys have the handouts. So conjugating in present tense, what's happening now, the present tense step, drop the ETB, you L-grade the verb stem, lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it's followed by NK or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the final vowels get a long marker. And then the third step is add a person marker. What is I? What person marker is in this? I is I, me. And then what's it? It's you. And then what is that placeholder? What is that? Is that first, second, or third person? Third person. All right. So I mean I, and it is you. And then this one, like I said, that's my placeholder. It's third person. Add a declarative ending, S or ES. You guys have the handouts. You guys can refresh yourself. And the third person does not have a marker. Again, that's why I put that placeholder. And just to briefly go over what we did. Second, first person. All right, to eat. Remember, we're just going down the steps. Drop the ETB, that's your verb stem. O is the final vowel, and you link this with the long mark over the O. And then you add the person marker, which is I, because we talked about I. You add your S, and the reason why we didn't add ES, because I is right there. That was the last thing. You don't want to put 2 vowels together, so we added S. Home base. Verb stem, person marker, and then S or ES, we use am, are, is, right there, and the period, home base. I am eating. Is that sounding familiar? Okay. So I am eating. We went from there. And let's see. Second person is get up, drink. Is get up to drink, drop it. ETB, get your verb stem, lengthen the final vowel, east. Second person marker right there. That's how you know second person. It is as a declared marker and our is, which since the K is not a vowel, it's a consonant, you add the es. Is I know, like I said, I'm still working on my smoothness, but you know, you can see now what we're saying. Yeah, it's good. So you've got your verb stem, your person marker, your declarative ending, and our is. All right, so that means, you know, you went to drink, to you are drinking. Does it make it easier? And this is refresher, so I hadn't done it. But does it make it easier when I do the break it up a little bit to try to pronounce it? Okay. So like I said, this is the first module we did, so I can try to go back there and make those changes. Then here again, to drink, verb stem, final vowel. I think that's just the one I just. Okay. Here it is. All right. It's drinking you are. These it's Mvskoke word, literal translation, drinking you are drinking. So you can also make that argument that English is you know, drinking you are. English is the one that's backwards. I know, I go through there. I sit there like, yeah, we're not wrong. You guys are all right, and then we're gonna go to the third person. Okay, is to see. HEC, you drop your verb stem. You leave that teach it up. So each. You add your person marker, and like I said, that's just my placeholder. Remember, there's really nothing there, but to make sure that I keep my steps, I add that placeholder. Each, and then they add ES because, like I said, that's not really there. So the last thing that they see is the C. So we have the ES. It could be an MR or is. Peaches. Verb stem. He, she, he, they, it, singular. So remember, it could be any one of those right there that you're talking about. Then you got your MR is and the period right here. Peaches. So it could be it's a B, sorry. She is seeing, he is seeing, they are seeing, it is seeing. So that's what that means. Now I understand, you know, that since we've evolved from module 1, I kept putting a little bit more notes on there, and I'm looking for those, but I will go back and I will update because, you know, we're learning as we go. I update it. So if I'm ever not working, you know, Mvskoke Creek Nation, you guys will have all these notes. You can refer back to, and hopefully these notes outlast me like hundreds of years, and somebody will learn from what we reported here today. All right, let's see. And here's the breakdown in a different view. Peaches. Seeing they are. Peaches. Seeing they are seen. And what could I put here if it wasn't they? Seeing he is. Seeing she is. Seeing it is. All right. So, you know, that's situational. You know what you're talking about, a male, a female, a dog, you know, a cat or whatever. All right. Is that everything coming back to play? All right. Okay. I think that is module 1 that we did. show right there, is the Mvskoke alphabet in a different view. You guys have that. So you have a lot of stuff that we've already covered, and like I said, we're just going to expand on it. This module, I wanted us to interact a little bit more. So in the next coming classes, I'm going to try to have us interact a little bit more. And anybody who's on online, I'm going to try to incorporate them as well. But I know the last time we met, the group wanted to try to do like an activity at the end. So a lot of things that we're going to do, if you look at our classroom terms, I'm going to need your help as well, because I'm still not familiar with all of these. And like I said, this will go on Google tonight when I get home. But the classroom terms is quizás. Because if you see on the K, there's a little curve at the top, and that is just signifying it's the short E, the I sound, and the long E is going to have the line. All right. Quizás. I don't know. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to go through the classroom, and if you guys don't know something, quizás. All right. So that means I don't know. And then ladybus. Have a seat. So like I said, I'm going to try to work with you guys, and you guys work with me, so we can try to remember all of this stuff. Because I know more than likely you guys have heard this, some of these things, but trying to remember and try to incorporate that in a daily classroom setting, that's what I'm trying to do. Adam Marcus. Adam Marcus. Say it again. So if I'm saying something and you guys don't understand or can't hear it, Adam Marcus. So like I said, I'm going to learn, and you guys are going to learn, because I'm not used to hearing these as well, like you guys are, Adam Marcus. Shoot, I remember that, but I don't remember what it means. Okay. And the next one is Amanagibus. Amanagis. Help. Like I said, these are, let's see if I can show the camera. I don't know if I can show you, but these are broken down to make it easier. Mvhayv. Help. So, and then Mvhayv. How many of you remember that or heard that? Mvhayv. Listen, and then Hijus. So Hijus, because that's a small E. I did look those up in the dictionary, because I wanted to try to show you what the dictionary says. So that's a short E, Hijus. Hijus. Look. Sometimes you will hear people say Hijus. Do you know what they're talking about? All right. And then Peconas means stop. Peconas. So if I'm going too fast, Peconas. Or you can even practice with your with your grandbabies, your children. Peconas.
You can say that in church all the time.
Did you? Yeah. Or Vegas. Everybody knows Vegas. Okay. And then Mvhayv. There's some people that didn't know what Mvhayv meant. That means teacher. And then this one, it's good to see you. It's so good to see you, and you can just pencil you in. Chihijayat. Dos. Hidden dos. Is that what you got, Hattie? Okay. Chihijayat. Hidden dos. Because I looked up hidden, and I looked up hidden. Yeah, it could be hidden dos or hidden. The dictionary has a long E on the last. But like I said, there's no right or wrong.
Good.
Because I was talking to one of the students, and they were talking about the dog, and they said, Eva. How many of you heard Eva? Because I always learned Eva.
I heard Eva.
Eva, and that's how I learned Eva. And it was a young child, I was about 9 or 10, said Eva, Eva. And so I knew what he was talking about, but I just smiled, and we were just talking, and I'm like, you're right, But I've always learned Eva. So, you know, as long as people are speaking or trying to speak Mvskoke, I'm not gonna, you know, say anything. And if your grandparents said it that way, say it that way. All right. And then put it here. Kayan Olages.
Ian,
Kayan Olages. Ian Olages. I put it here. And this is some of the things that I'm going to put as our vocabulary. It's when we're sitting around eating, you know, past the duck legging, and I'm gotta get with the Mvhayv to make sure that I put it in the correct order, past the duck legging, you know, do you want to drink, you know, something like that. So we can start practicing this before the final, I'm not gonna say it's your final, but before the final feast, you know. We're gonna sit down and have a meal together. We're gonna, you know, try to speak Oshanwa salts, you know.
that was at my church Sunday, we Saturday, we had some video of them, and one of the brothers, hey, I need to say salt. Oh, someone.
You're right, right? And then just little things, like I said, you can be even at you can use some of this stuff at you know, your family gatherings, you know, your birthdays, your anniversaries, and just a couple of words, you know, it's just keeping the language alive. And you know, if it's going to start with one word, then you'll start past Chanwa, you know, and you'll just keep adding to it. So just add to what you already know. So that's good. And then Togahija, student or pupil. And I know some of the older people, they don't want to be called student or pupil, but I'm always learning. And I'm going to be learning until you know, it's like learning more till I'm not here. So I'm like, I don't get offended when somebody calls me a student, you know, because that means that you're learning something and you're still active, especially in our language. So Chogahija, I've also seen in the College of Mvskoke Nation, they had not Chogahija. And that was also in the dictionary. So it could be not Chogahija or Chogahija. So I know those of you who go online and see Zoom, and if you see Mvhayv Barnett, you'll see me, not Chogahija. That's me. So I'm the student. Like I said, I don't get offended if, you know, I'm older and learning. You're going to learn until you pass away, because, you know, even some of these cell phones, you think you got it, and then they upgrade. So you're always learning something, you know, you're always learning something, you know. You learn how to drive, and then you learn how to drive a stick shift.
So it's like my little girl, she looked up a word in our language. How did you do that? She said, I went to Google Drive, and she could look up words, songs, you know, dances.
Right? You can do a lot on Google and then TikTok. So my family showed me how to do this. So I'm still learning, and you know, I'm teaching my great aunt. She's a 75, something like that. So she's learning all this stuff. I'm like, look, you can go do this. And she's like, how did you know? I'm like, my kids. All right, so this is class 2. Let me just quickly go over that. Class 2. Roles for present tense, negation, third person. Well, it could be first or second person. Okay, drop the ETV and get the verb stem. Add your person marker. The second line, the second step is the only one that changes on here. So I had highlighted it because I is the V in negation. It is you and no person, which is open and close parentheses. Add your negation, affix, co, or eco. Add your subject marker T. Add your auxiliary verb os. So remember, that is negation. Negation has its own different rules. Kumbada, to eat. And this is going to be the third person because I hit the wrong one, but that's okay. Verb stem. Add your person marker. No person marker. Remember, open and close parentheses. That's just my placeholder. She, he, they, it. Won't be cool. Because why do we add the E instead of just the KO? Here. Yeah. Why do we add the E instead of just the K? And it's right here. This one, right?
Oh, no.
No, it's not a vowel. You were close. It's not a vowel. If this P was a V, or if it was a, you know, an A, then you would add KO. But since that P is not a vowel, you add a vowel.
Yeah.
All right, so if that's not a vowel, you add a vowel. If it's a vowel, you don't add.
Right, you put two vowels.
Right, don't put two vowels together because you'll create a diphthong and we don't do that. All right, and then you add your T, add your subject marker. And you can say D, if that's our sounds, add your D, Mvhayv, and then you add your auxiliary verb os, which means MR is Mvhayv os. Mvhayv os. And like I said, you can also put Mvhayv dos with a T. That's how some of our speakers speak it. Mvhayv dos with a T. T-O over here.
Does that mean not eating?
Yes. Eating, she, he, they, it, not are, they are not eating, she is not eating. So usually when you say EC go or eco, that means it's not doing something. So if you're hearing something, and this happened to me recently, I can hear them talking and I'm listening, and then they said eco in the sentence, and I'm like, somebody's not doing something. So I was all excited. I'm like, I don't know exactly what you said, but I know you're not doing something, or somebody's not doing something. So these are just little things to help us learn our Mvskoke is go or ego if you're not doing something. Only go post. Right? And this is the first person. Okay, let's go to first person. Same exact rules. Set right here, we're talking first person, we're talking about and that means I. We also see go, ego, he, os. To eat. Verb stamp, add your person marker. The is I am doing something. Add your negation. Why would we not put EKO there? Because of the is the verb, as the vowel. If we added and E, that would be two vowels together. That's why we add that go. All right, go, and then you add your auxiliary verb os. Os. Eating, I am not eating. Because we're still talking about I. Me, I'm not doing something, I'm not eating. All right. I know it's easy to remember, I forget some of this stuff, that's why I try to point it out so we'll remember this. Let's see, second person.
Mvhayv.
Go ahead.
What sound did you hear? Oh, somebody's not doing something. What sound did you hear?
Eco, or was it eco or go?
Go.
Because in that sentence that they were talking about, they said something about eco. So it's like, oh, somebody's not doing something, or go. Okay, go. And I was like, okay, somebody's not doing something. And just these little bitty things, these little bitty Mvskoke clues will get you to understanding what they're talking about. Just a little bit at a time. You know, we've only done this for, what's it, 3 modules. We're doing really good at what we're doing, and we're learning. Just baby steps. As long as you're going forward, you know, you see those lodges across the road, you know, and you're like, come on, baby, come on. You know, and I always, you know, swerve to miss them, but you know, you're like, come on, baby. And sometimes if you have enough time, I know if I have enough time, I get out and I'll move to the other side. But sometimes you're in that busy traffic and you're like, come on. And then it was funny because my daughter, she's like, oh, Lordja, she's like, let's pray. So there was a whole group of people like, you know, Lord, please let the turtle get to the other side.
You know, those big old swans or ducks or whatever, you have to stop with them. Everybody has to stop.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, move.
But you know, just you know, as long as you're going forward, you know, that's all we can ask. Even if it's just a little bit. Sometimes what's really cool is sometimes you'll start going forward a little bit, and all of a sudden things will start picking up and it'll start clicking, and you're like, zoom over there, and then you start going a little, and then things will pick up and you'll zoom over there. Just keep going forward. And this is the second person, like I said, the same exact rules, except right here that it shows that we're talking about you. All right, first in, There's your U. Mvhayv. Mvhayv os. MR is Mvhayv os. Eating, you not are, you are not eating. All right. That's the that's how you know it's a second person. Yes, it. Anybody use this template? Has anybody been practicing? All right, so it's out there whenever you guys have time to practice. Like I said, we're going to try to use these a little bit more on the sentences that we have, sentences that you guys make, or sentences you guys come up with. Just, put in your infinitive verb here, and it needs to do something. This one is in second person, that's why it's you got your little steps there, and that's why the EKO is there, the E's in parentheses, because why would we not put an E there? If it was this, say you're doing your infinitive. If it already has a vowel, yes, all right. So if it already has a vowel, that's what you just have to get the K on. If it does not hit the vowel, then you add your vowel. All right. Subject marker, osh, then you are not doing something. And then it just plug and play. You are not doing something. You are not playing. You are not eating. You are not jumping.
You are not sleeping.
You're not sleeping. Hold it up. Sleep. So that's out there. Like I said, I'm trying to refresh everybody on what we were doing. And see, here's the simple sentences. Because like I said, some of us haven't been in school for a while. Yeah, I'm sorry, the boxes are back there. But some of us have not been in school for a while, so somebody asked me to refresh. Word order of Mvskoke sentences may vary, just like we said, sometimes pronunciation, sometimes spelling varies. Subject, noun, a person or a thing being discussed, described, or dealt with, person, place, thing, or idea. Object, receive the action of the verb. Verb, the action that is being performed by the subject, the verb the subject is doing. Adjective, a word that describes the noun. Adverb, adverbs usually acts in how, where, when. Basic Mvskoke sentence structure, subject, object, verb. Verb always goes at the end. So your infinitive verbs, when you conjugate, it always goes at the end. In some Mvskoke sentences, T will be added to the subject of the sentence. In some Mvskoke sentences, N will be added to the object of the sentence. Example, Ivat Posen Asitis. The dog chases the cat. The dog, and then the Asitis at the end because that's the verb, and then the cat. So the dog chases the cat, and up here literally says the dog, the cat chases. So just like when we conjugate, that's the Mvskoke. And then you have to take it backwards and do your English. The dog chases the cat. All right, adjectives and adverbs will sit sentences. Subject to verb, he ball up on base. Strawberry, I am eating. Strawberry, I am eating. So when we're
sometimes they say Kabbalah. Jesus said. Start with a B.
the B.
We sound like a B.
Okay, so chocolate P.
Maybe P, yeah. Kabbalah. My mom used to say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Michael said there's a lot of ways to say the same thing, a lot of different ways, and that depends on which Mvhayv you ask. They, they'll say something completely different. But, all right. I think we pretty much covered everything that we have had in module 1 and module 2. Right here, you guys have your handouts, and this is on the Google Drive. Right here, you have the hymnal. How many of you guys like that little black hymnal? How many of you guys wanted, this is it. you know, it's not the printed version, but if you guys, you know, have, you know, want to go see this, this is the hymnal. And I know Philip, I know I had emailed you, these links. So anytime I find a link or anything that might help you guys, if you guys have your email out there, then I'll email to you guys to get my email. And then at the end, I'm gonna get it all the way down here. This is the index showing right here, all of the names of the hymns. So that little,
Is the Greek language that it's in there? Or does it have like English?
okay, let's see, hold on. I think it has
Yeah,
the,
it's got the English.
yeah, right here, our younger brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So, if you guys watch, our Instagram and our Facebook, I had put Holy Donkey Children, and that was one of the words. And, so this, I had a hymn that I had put on for a word of the day, and it's believers, Christians, children, ministers, preachers. So that's where I got that from, was for the hymn. Because people were wanting the words for the hymns, but now here you have it. Even though it's not, you know, the little book, you guys at least have the words.
Yeah, you gotta know the tune too, don't you? The tune's not in the book.
Right, the tune's not in the book, and from what I've seen on YouTube, you can just Google some of these and you have different versions. I didn't realize, just, you know, just like our spellings, just like our pronunciation, just the singing way is different. When I did, one church goes really slow, another church goes fast, and the other one just kind of does their own thing. So just depending on how you want to sing it, you just go to, you know, YouTube and Google the name of it, and then just catch the tune from there. And but that's out there. I put that on the Google Drive.
Mado.
Yeah. And then let's go with media classes. These are classes that I came across from Mvhayv Barnett. And this was, I think, maybe 2018, 2019. So this was the whole, I think there was 5 or 6 weeks of it. So if you guys are interested in watching that, that's out there. I put that out there because it's not on our YouTube, it was on the Mvskoke Meetings YouTube. And, you know, sometimes you get tired of one person, or you want to just a little bit different change, you know, just go to that. This one's our Mvskoke language YouTube. So this one, hopefully it'll open up. There it is. So you guys should be familiar with that. That is the one that we have all of our videos on. You see Mvhayv Barnett and Mvhayv Eli. Mvhayv Eli had done the sentence structure. She did it really fast and it was really cool, but to me, I need to go a little slower because it takes a little while for things to sink in because I've got 40 plus years of English, but that's out there. So if you guys start one of these and it's too fast, you can always stop and pause, go do something, come back, let it sink in and come back and then finish it. Or even if you go through the whole thing, just go back. But that's out there, and I think some of mine are out there as well. Like I said, I've got to edit it. So that's another thing that is on our plate is editing our. So that's out there as well. And then the Google Drive. You've seen the Google Drive. I've shared that with you guys. You can go back to refresh module 1, module 2, and then we're in module 3. Then, like I said, the words of the day that I've been working on. If you can't find it on Instagram or Facebook, it's on Facebook. Okay. All right. So, you know, there's March, just follow March. And so it's all here. For some reason, if Instagram or Facebook loses it, you have it here. All right. I'm trying to make everything just really, really easy. Like I said, if you guys lose a sound, like R, wait, R, just click on there. It'll remind you, it'll refresh you of the sounds. All right, looks like that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, what we're going to start in module 3 is future 1 tense negation, first person, second person, third person. And that is, I am not going to cook, I am not going to sleep, I'm not going to eat. And then, it's got a couple of different, it's got a couple of different adds to the rules. I will type them up and post them for next classroom. We will do first person for 1 week, second person for the next week, third person for the following week, so we don't get confused. And then the next week or two, you guys have any questions? And you can ask, or like I said, take these and I will put them on a PowerPoint, not tonight, but I will put this on the PowerPoint. I'll take this, put it on a PowerPoint so you can see it, it's broken down. I will put it on a PowerPoint next week so you can hear the other Mvhayv speaking. Like I said, we're still trying to, navigate being choppy, but I love to hear our Mvhayv speak. So this will be on there next week. We've been so busy at the Mvskoke language program. I don't know, how many of you have seen the language camp for the young ones? Yeah, we were doing that. So from 8 at night to 10, 8 in the morning to 10 at night, we were these young ones speaking, teaching them things. And it was fun, but it's exhausting. Remember I told you guys, pray for me. Not that I, couldn't handle it. It's just I needed energy. I had the energy for the rest of the week. It's just, now I'm recuperating. All right, so let me go ahead and ask if there's any questions, any comments. Like I said, I'm just trying to get us to using it, even in the classroom, even for 1 day. So we're going to start right here with the classroom term. And then I've got to get used to hearing it as well, because you don't always hear it. And if you say something, I might have to stop and look at my little cheat sheet too. But like I said, we're all learning. And does anybody have any questions about the last week? I was thinking we could do a pop-up and do food like that, unless you guys had any other questions.
Monks.
Okay. All right. Mvhayv.
Mvhayv. Yeah.
Guys, next Friday, and if you guys have any questions, just feel free to call me or email me. Anytime I have anything updated that I find, I will email you guys, because I know sometimes you're just grasping for information. All right. Mvhayv.
Mvhayv. Haram jihi jatis.
Nice.